Welcome back. Today we're going to be exploring the view and an orientation to the view. And I think this is chapter 10 in Christopher Harish Wallace's Tantra Illuminated book. So this is for you if you've ever felt like you've been doing all the right things on your spiritual path, yoga, meditation, prayer, journaling, and still feel like there's something not quite aligning, like there's this subtle ache in the background, a sense of striving or falling short. No matter how fast or hard you run, it feels like you're not actually getting any closer to where you really want to be. If this sounds familiar, then firstly, you're not alone. And today's teaching might just name the missing link. Hi, my name is David William Pierce, and this video is all about the view. What is the view? To listen to it in its entirety, I'll leave a link there. But in short, in the tradition of Non-Dual Śaiva Tantra, the very first and most crucial step on the path is what is called the view, or darśana in Sanskrit. The view is not just a philosophy, it's a lived understanding of reality, a vision that informs practice, perception, and ultimately, freedom. It's like this. I'm going to sneeze. Internal sneeze. Delicious. Okay, it's like this. If you're running a race in the wrong direction, no matter how fast you're going or disciplined you've been with your training, you'll never reach the finish line. However, if you're headed in the right direction, if you orient yourself to be going in the right direction, even if you take one small step at a time, even if you stumble along the way, you'll still arrive. And that's the power of right orientation. In this path, even small misalignments of view, when practiced daily, can accumulate over time and take you further away from your goal, which is counterproductive, one might say. It's like doing yoga asana and doing a misaligned pose. Over time, you're not going to get stronger, you're going to create an injury. It's the same with a training. If you're doing an exercise wrong, you're only increasing the likelihood of doing long-term damage. And the same applies to your spiritual practice. If you practice with the unconscious belief that you're broken or fundamentally not enough, that becomes the reality you reinforce. And this is misaligned view versus right view. This is what misaligned view looks like, is the belief that there's something wrong with you that needs fixing. That spiritual practice is about striving to become better, more worthy, more pure, someone else. And I get it. I know how challenging it can be to have that voice, that internal monologue of self-criticism, self-doubt, and disbelief. And that's why it's so important to have these teachings available to you and a mentor or teacher to help reinforce and return to them and understand them more deeply, so that when that voice does come in, you have the tools to overcome it, even when it is persistent. From this view, even the most sincere practice gets trapped. You might become the best version of your limited self, but you won't realize your true nature. But from the right view, your practice becomes a return, not a striving. You begin from the knowing that you are already a whole, perfect expression of the divine. You're not doing the practice to become divine, you're doing it to reveal what's already true. This is the essence of Tantra. Power arising from love, liberation through recognition. The thing I've found with a lot of self-help, even spiritual practices, is that there is always another thing to heal, a problem to solve, a level to upgrade to. Even in my experience of yoga world, I was never taught this sense of the view. There was very much this mentality of harder, better, stronger, faster. A reaching, a striving, a climbing. And it can be fun. Looking to self-improve in that way. But when I encountered this teaching that the practice is not a ladder but a mirror, it began to change things. Rather than trying to transcend my humanity, I started trying to meet it, which isn't always easy. Even now, years into this spiritual practice, moments of challenge do their best to get the better of me. And that's why I'm glad I have these teachings. Because at least it's real, it's true, it's truth. And even though life can be challenging and reaching the top of the ladder can feel rewarding at the time, and rather not be living the best version of my limited self, as Peter Crone likes to say, I'd rather not be living a lie. The Tantric view is divine play of consciousness. And here's what the view teaches us. That all of this, you, me, everything, this phone, this microphone, this carpet, is one infinite divine consciousness expressing itself in an infinite number of ways. That consciousness freely chooses to manifest as countless forms, including myself and yourself, through a playful act of love. So, for God so loved herself that she became the world. And in that play, she temporarily forgets herself in order to remember herself again through us. When we identify with only our small, separate, small s self, we invite suffering. But when we remember that our true identity is consciousness itself, boundless, blissful and free, we begin to awaken. And not just once. It requires a continual dunking of the proverbial tea bag over and over in every moment until that remembrance becomes the ground of every breath, of every thought, of every sensation. And that's why this matters. That's why I'm making these videos, because I've recognized the value of having a reminder along the way, a support in the darkness, a leading hand into the light. Because if you've been feeling disconnected, confused, or like your practice has plateaued, or worse, has left you feeling isolated, alone, broken, like it did for me, it might not be a lack of effort that's in the way. It's a matter of orientation. And if you're like me, come from yoga world, where I rushed into a 200-hour teacher training, I think it was 2 months, that I managed to squeeze that into full-time job and full-time training. And then rushed into another 800 hours of training over, I think, the next 2 years, maybe 3. I didn't have the teacher-student relationship that would have benefited me from, one, understanding right orientation to the view, but then also learning to integrate everything that I was learning, doing, changing into my life. And instead, just going off feasting by myself with a a misaligned orientation to the view, my life eventually reached a point where things crashed. And the thing with karmic repercussions is that they can take time to realign. And this is why the view is the foundation. It realigns the path with your actual destination. It reminds us that we're not here to become something else, that you're here to realize who you already are. And from there, everything, your practice, your relationships, your daily life can begin to shift. Not because you're trying harder, but because you're seeing clearer. You're acting in alignment. The effort that you're putting in is reaping fruit. And this isn't something to understand intellectually, but somatically. Only experiential proof is valid in this domain, and will show you that the experiment is worth conducting to understand the true nature of reality. There must be alignment of view, practice, and fruit for this path to work. And the longer the misalignment, the harder it can be to correct. For more on letting go of past karmic repercussions, go check that video out. If what I've shared today has resonated with you, if you're someone who is maybe new to their yogic path, you've felt inspired to do a teacher training, you've come out the other side and you're enjoying the shiny object syndrome of yoga world, I invite you to go and enjoy it and to recognize what I didn't, which is the value of right orientation, the value of having a mentor or teacher a couple of steps ahead who can not tell you how to move up your mountain, how to traverse your path, but just let you know if you're about to walk into a ditch because they can see it where perhaps you can't. And a supportive community, because when there is a group of consciousnesses who are desiring to co-elevate, it creates the spiral up. And it's so supportive. Like, trust me. And the absence of it is only palpable either when you have it and you're reaping the benefits of it, or you've come to a startling crash and you need the support of people who can lift you up. If any of this has resonated with you, if you're still here listening, watching, viewing, participating, conversing just silently, there's a quiz in the description that can help you deepen your understanding of the view in this week's teaching. It's just a gentle way to reflect, remember, and to realign so that you can integrate all of these teachings and they become your own, not just something that you've listened to through me. You can also sign up to receive the answers by email. And if you're wanting to go deeper, an invitation to reach out, to say something in the comments, to message me individually, personally, and maybe even to join the community, the Aligned Living Collective, a community of seekers like you walking this path with devotion and clarity and love. So you've been looking for a space where your inner knowing is honored, where the teachings meet your life, and where you don't have to do it alone. Welcome. Nice to have you here. Thank you for joining, and see you next time. Cheers. Life-giving. See you guys.